Good morning, Wall Street winners. It is Wednesday, November the 13th, and we've got kind of a slow day, I think, today in the markets. If we take a look at the Bloomberg, we've just had CPI data come out, and it is pretty much in line with expectations, which means we should be seeing another rate cut by the US Fed in December. With that, the three US indices, you can see the futures of those are in the red going into um, the market open. So we're about 50 minutes away from the market open today on the 13th. And you can see that this is kind of where we are. If we look at futures, we're down slightly. Nothing huge, but we're off a little bit. I think there's a little bit of retrenchment after this, calling it the Trump trade, or really the election decision trade. I'm not sure it was driven exclusively by a Trump win, just the fact that we knew who won at this point in time. So that's where we are there, but it's the CPI data is in line. We're going to get retail sales data out on Friday. If we take a look at the Yahoo Finance app, you can see that crude is making a bit of a comeback. It's had a bit of a choppy morning, but it's been all green, which is positive. Could see crude get back up to the $69 range. And then you've got the VIX down at 15. So people are feeling that it's a less risky environment. I would think that because of the run up after the election result, I think there are some stocks that remain on the high side of risk and others where there could be a buying opportunity. And the ones on the high side are the ones that have had a fairly significant run up for no particular reason. So no earnings around that run up, just around the significance of a solid win by one party. So Costco was one of those. I think we're going to see some pullback. It ran up significantly from the 890s up to 930. That's a pretty big move for that one. Lulu's done the same. Now Lulu, I believe, does have earnings coming out at the beginning of December. So maybe that's a run up into earnings and some expectations there. Walmart stayed pretty flat in the 84 range. You've got the health, which is the health area, or the health stocks that have moved a little bit. Home Depot announced yesterday they came out with better than expected future forecasts, saying that they expect that they'll profit off of the hurricane. That said, it's not up significantly. It's up almost a percent, three quarters of a percent. It was up a lot more post market. Aftermarket yesterday when the earnings were announced. I think it was up in the 415s, but that is now retraced and come down into a more acceptable bump. So, I mean, it was up in 406 a couple of days ago. It's now back up in the 406 range. It's not a stock I'd be jumping into at this point. I think there's a lot more opportunity elsewhere. Going down to oil, you can see that with crude up, oil is set to have a green day. Almost everything in the pre-market is green here. So this could be an interesting one to get into. If crude does continue to turn upwards, it's taken a dive, as you can see right now, and come back to its yesterday's close at 68.12. But if that starts to ramp up and get closer to 69, could be provide a nice uplift for some of the oil stocks. We also have Occidental Petroleum. Occidental Petroleum is up 1.3%. They announced earnings and things were viewed as positive, obviously, based on that bump. We then get down into tech. And what we're seeing is a bit of a run up into some of the stocks set to report in the next little while. So CrowdStrike has been having a nice little run over the last month. You can see it's climbed down from November 4th, early November, which is not that long ago, from the 295 range all the way up to the 344 range. And it looks like it's set to get up closer to 350 this morning. Then if we scroll down further, CRM has been on a tear as well, and they've got earnings coming up as well shortly. CRM, if we look at the 1 month, has been down in the 283. It's up in the 341. So again, these are ones that if earnings don't meet, there's a high likelihood of a retracement. So I'd be very cautious around those. Palo Alto announces next week at this time. They've had a good run leading up into earnings. If you look at their 1 month, they've been on a bit of a hockey stick trajectory there as well, up from the 350s to the 400s. So again, great if they meet their earnings expectations and exceed them and provide a good future forecast. But if they just come in line, there's a high likelihood of a pullback there. So I'm staying away from those that have run up pre-earnings because I think that's kind of built into the bump around good news. One of the ones that had good earnings, they weren't extraordinary, but they were good, that's pulled back a fair bit, is ARM, down in the 139 range. I think this could be an interesting recovery play today. and get up into, say, the 142, 144 range. So that's one that I'm keeping an eye on for today. Others that I'm keeping an eye on for today include Tesla. Tesla had 2 great days and then pulled back yesterday. It looks like it's going to recover a bit today. I'm just watching this one. Again, this is one that I think has had a massive run up due to Elon Musk's association with Trump and no business fundamentals behind it. So I'm looking to potentially, if this ratchets up more and gets up to the 350 range, I might consider putting a put on this and selling it, basically selling it short, expecting a drop after US Thanksgiving. So the week after US Thanksgiving, I think stocks will pull back. And I'm just waiting to time that to get in at the right put price to see if we can make some money on a bit of a pullback on Tesla. Meta had a good day. It had a good start to the day yesterday, and then it kind of retraced back to initial levels. But I do think there's room for Meta to get back up into the 600s. Not sure that's going to happen today. BABA reports on Friday. So this is pulled back to 91, 92. I think this is going to definitely go to 105 around earnings. I do expect earnings will finally, they did turn last quarter and were more positive. I think every quarter we're going to get better and better earnings out of Alibaba. So I am going to be watching that one, but I'm not heavily invested in it right now. NVIDIA had a great day yesterday. It looks like it's going to go through its latest high today as well and hit new highs. Google had a good day. It's pulling back a little at the open. I love Google on the pullbacks. I think Google should be 190, 195, if not higher stock. And it's hit the 185 range, or it's in that range that we talked about a few weeks ago of it getting to. So I think it's going to continue to move. And then Adobe's late to report as well. Adobe doesn't report until December 11th. And I do think the earnings are going to be good. This is the stock that if you look at the 6 month, it has come back from lows in the low, more mid 400s. Up to 530, and I think that movement upwards is going to continue. Adobe's been hit hard around concerns that AI is going to take over its business, which hasn't transpired at all. So we'll see what happens there. And then I bought into some TSM yesterday. I love TSM down in the low 190s. This stock should be a 215, if not $230 stock. The results were spectacular. Their future forecast was excellent in the last quarter. I think we're going to hear the same out of them in the current quarter, and they're late to report as well. So if you look at the reporting date on this, it's not until January. But anything in the low 190s, I think, is an absolute bargain. And I think you could do very well, and it's set up to be up in the pre-market. Financials yesterday got hit pretty much across the board, but it looks like they're going to recover today. So that was a great opportunity to buy in. And I think you've still got some potential here. Just watch and try to avoid buying at the highs. It's all about timing this. So the days to buy in are the days when the stock is in the red. And if it's trending downward, just wait to the close and see if it continues to trend downward, and then make that your entry point and look at what happens the following day. If you did that yesterday, you'd be up $8 on Goldman, and that's a pretty big win there. And then JP Morgan was up yesterday, but you'd be up again. Morgan Stanley was down yesterday, and you'd be back up as well on Morgan if you bought in at the end of the day. So that's where we are. We've got a few earnings coming out. We have retail sales on Friday. We had CPI in line today. Everything's kind of fallen into place, but no spectacular news for huge moves in the market at this point in time. If you're liking these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll be back with you tomorrow again.